OMG, I cannot believe it. I was having the hardest time getting my webcam. For some reason, the webcam would not connect, it would not pick up. But anyway, good evening, everybody. Hello, 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 hello. Come on in the room. I know it has been a while since I have posted a video or have been on live, and that is because the flu was running through my family. My husband was sick, and then I was sick. Then after getting over the flu, I had strep throat. Then my kids got the flu. It was like one would get better, then another one would get sick. Then the two youngest were sick at the same time with the flu. It was a mess. It was a mess. So I was not able to post any videos because I didn't batch record, and I wasn't able to go live because of course I couldn't talk because I had strep throat after I had the flu, and then my kids were sick. It was crazy. But we survived. Everybody is doing much better, feeling much better after I think my kids were out of school. My second oldest, he was out of school for almost a week. Then he got well, and now my third, he's going on like 3 days out of school because he developed the symptoms over of the flu symptoms over the weekend, and then it was President's Day, which was kind of good because there was no school miss. But anyway, so that's where I've been, you guys. That's where I've been trying to get better and get my family better. But I am back. I really I really wanted to come on and do a video just to catch up and to chat. But at first, oh, hey, Carrie, I am doing much better, much better. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. I I wanted to do a video. I wanted to go live, and then I didn't want to go live because, as you can see, my hair is a mess. I haven't been able to go and get my hair done. I haven't been able to find time to retwist my own hair. It's dry and what have you. And I was like, I want to go live. I want to talk about all that's going on in this crazy world and give some encouragement and get back to going live. And I was like, oh, but my hair is looking crazy. And I'm one of those black girls that never learned how to wrap your hair. Um, and I would not be caught dead online, out in public, anywhere in a bonnet. That's just not my thing. My mom would have a fit, and my dad probably would be worse than my mom. Like, what's going on? The only way you would ever see me in a bonnet or out in public or whatever is if my house caught on fire or if there was a dire emergency and I had to dart out and just didn't take that thing off. But I was like, I don't want to go on. My hair is looking a mess. It's dry and yada yada yada. And I said, you know what? Actually, it was my mom. My mom was like, it's real life. Get on there. You were sick. You told your people you were sick. It's real life. Get on there and do what you got to do. Oh, thank you. I did try to put some spritz on it to make it moisturize, not look so dry, what have you. But thank you. Thank you. See, I'm worried about something that's not even all that bad. I'm worried about something that's not even all that bad. So, how is everybody? How are you doing, Carrie? How are you? Where are you guys watching from? As you may know, or maybe you don't know, you may be new to my channel. I'm Shantae Charles, and I live in Minot, North Dakota. I live in Minot, North Dakota. And let me tell you, the last week it has been cold. Oh my God, has it been cold here? But I always tell people, yes, it's cold. Yes, it gets very cold here. I often say the cold weather is not for the week. Oh, good to know, Carrie. Good to know. North Dakota is not for the week, but if you're looking to get ahead financially, if you need a fresh start, North Dakota is the place to come. There are plenty of jobs here. Excuse me, there are plenty of jobs here and good paying, high paying jobs. High paying jobs are here. I often say you can lose your job here today, have a job tomorrow. By the end of the week or the following week, you're going to have another job, and not just any job, but another high paying job. The cost of living is very affordable here. The dream of home ownership is still alive and well here in North Dakota. We do have some places where homes are expensive, but you can still find a home here for less than what you will find in other places in the United States. Oh my God, now my eyes are burning. I'm telling you, it's always something. Anyway, sorry guys. But so if you are living somewhere where the cost of living is too high and you don't make enough money, or maybe you make a good income, but your money doesn't go far because the cost of living is high, consider moving. You may not move here to North Dakota, but consider moving somewhere else where jobs are plentiful, where jobs are, the pay is great, and the cost of living is more affordable. My husband and I, we bought our home. It's a 4 bedroom, 3 bath, very nice size home. We paid $290 for our home. I don't mind sharing how much we paid for our home. We paid $290. Okay, $290. Interest rates are high. Our interest rate is the cost is the interest rate of what home interest rates were in the 80s. So, but hey, marry the house, date the interest rate. You can always refinance. We can always refinance. So I just wanted to come on and let you guys know where I've been. I didn't fall off the earth. My family and I, we are I have fully recovered. My two oldest have fully recovered. But now my younger two they're on the upswing. They're on the upswing. I'm keeping them home from school until they get 100% better, because even though it is cold here, kids still go outside at school unless the temperature gets like really, really negative. Otherwise, kids are still going to go outside. It can be like 20 degrees. They're still going to go outside. They put their snow gear on, tell them they got to go out. And for me, if my kids are just getting over the cold and they don't have on a ski mask or something to cover their mouth up to keep the cold from getting in their lungs, I'm not going to send them to school when they have to go outside, unless I ask their doctor to forward over a note to say, hey, don't send them outside. The school is going to send them outside, which I think is nonsense. The parents should be able to say, hey, don't send my kid outside for a few days. Anyway, that's enough about me. The Move to North Dakota Summit is happening this Saturday at 9 a.m. Central Standard Time. If you have not gotten your tickets, there is still time to get your ticket. If you are considering moving to somewhere else or considering to move um, to North Dakota, get your tickets to the Move to North Dakota Summit. There will be a replay if you get your ticket and you're not able to attend the live. There will be a replay. We are going to have a OBGYN. She's going to talk about what it's like being Black in healthcare here. We will have a real estate agent. She's going to talk about her time in the military here. I think she said she's been here like 30 years. She retired military, decided to stay here. She's going to talk about her time here as well as the housing market here. Um, I'm going to have a retiree on. She's going to talk about how living here helps her Social Security and her retirement go much further than if she were living somewhere else. I'll be there. Another small business owner, the person who does my hair, she will be there. She'll be talking about the difference between living here and living in California, raising her daughter, and talking about starting a business here, how it's going for her, and the ease of starting a business here. I'm also going to have the retired CEO of the Homeless Coalition. He will be on. He will be talking about his time here. He came here via the military, retired military, and then he became the CEO of the Homeless Coalition here. So he's going to talk about being Black and living here. And then also a travel agent will be on. Now, he's not going to be talking about travel. He's going to be talking about what it's like being a Black man living here in North Dakota and raising his son here in North Dakota. So if you're interested in knowing more about moving to North Dakota, I highly, highly, highly suggest that you join the Move to North Dakota Summit. Also, when you get your ticket to the summit, you're going to get the VIP toolkit, and the VIP toolkit is basically a resource guide. It's going to give you information for the major cities here in North Dakota: Minot, Bismarck, Williston, Dickinson, Fargo, and Grand Forks. It's going to give you housing information, a list of different rental agencies. It's going to give you school information, the um, hospital information. It's going to give you daycare provider information, the housing authority information, because of course, I know some people, you may want to port your Section 8 voucher here. That information will be included for each city as well as as far as well as some other things will be included in the VIP toolkit, a budgeting guide for moving, savings challenges, and a bunch of other things that I think you will find beneficial. So join us on Saturday for the Move to North Dakota Summit. So let's get into it, y'all. I know, I know y'all have been seeing what's been going on in the news. I mean, have times gotten mad or have times gotten mad? I mean, layoffs left and right. Now, I saw this kind of ticked me off, and I don't work for anybody, and I haven't worked for anybody in, ooh, I started my business in 2016. And then after the pandemic, for a short stint, I went to work for the Department of Transportation here in North Dakota. I did that for about 6 months. I was experiencing burnout for my business and what have you, and I just was like, I need to do something different. So I went and did that. But for the most part, I haven't worked for anybody else in umpteen years. But I saw the CEO of Louis Vuitton, Louis Vuitton, Vuitton, they laid off people. And I thought it was so disrespectful that he said it wasn't layoffs. This man has recoined layoffs as, what did he say? It's promoting outward. Promoting outward. I was like, you got to be kidding me. How disrespectful. Promoting outward. Just like something you say to somebody that you can't stand or did something wrong. You're like, oh, I'm promoting you outward. Get on. Promoting you outward. I was like, so disrespectful. So disrespectful. But these jobs ain't loyal. These jobs ain't loyal. I have been saying this for many, many years. I know I'm new to YouTube, and I'm sorry, I hear my kids doing something upstairs. I know I'm new to YouTube over the last few months, but I've been teaching financial education for a long time. If you find me on Facebook and you go back through my Facebook, you'll see I've been teaching many years about the importance of having more than one stream of income. That I don't care if your job bows down when you go in through the door on in the morning. They bow down and do a little curtsy. You better have you another source of income, because these jobs ain't loyal. And yes, I mean it just like that. Not these jobs aren't loyal to anyone. These jobs ain't loyal. They ain't loyal to nobody. No, they're not. They're not, Carrie. They are not loyal. They don't care about you. Very few employers really care about their employees. Really, very, very few, excuse me, care about their employees. They care about the bottom line, and they care about the shareholders, especially if it's not a small business. A small business, if they're a major corporation, they're on the stock market and all that, they care about the shareholders and the stakeholders. They don't care about the average day to day person. They do not care about that. I saw that Southwest Airlines is laying off. Now I hear that they are laying off. It wasn't even because they're not turning a profit. They made a profit and they're laying off just simply because greed. And they're laying off top people. Like, oh my God, no one is safe. No one is safe from getting laid off. And even here in North Dakota, I thank God my husband has a good job. He works for an oil company, and they production is up for them. They have a lot of work. But even with that, and living in North Dakota, and you guys who have been following me and watching my videos for a while, you have heard me say plenty of times that here in North Dakota, lose a job today, get a job tomorrow, another high paying job. But still, we don't put our whole trust in that because even here in North Dakota, I would not be surprised because these jobs ain't loyal. They are not loyal. They know that inflation is up, the price of everything is up, but they do not care. They care about stakeholders and shareholders. They don't care about the average everyday person who is on the front line, who is making the company money and keeps the company revolving. And then people used to think that working for the federal government was security. There's security in working for the federal government. I have a really good friend. I have been friends with her since I was like 12, 13 years old. She works for the federal government. And I have even said to her for years, you need another source of income. You need another source of income, girl. You never know what's going to go happen. And she used to be like, and I don't know if she will ever see this video and maybe get mad or not, I don't know, but I'm not going to say her name. But she used to always say, well, I'm if the government shuts down, I'm not going to be affected because um, what she does, she works with food. She works for the USDA. So she would say, I'm not going to be affected because of my job. Well, that wasn't true. um, there was a shutdown. I can't remember what year it was, but there was a shutdown, and she was not working either. And that was a shock to her. I think it was like 2 months or so she did not work, and that was a shock. And so now she, I spoke to her the other day, and she's like, people in her agency have gotten laid off. A lot of people have gotten laid off, and I, I love my friend dearly. I love my friend. I mean, me and her we go way back. We go back so far to where we didn't have a driver's license. We've been friends since we were like 13, 12 or 13 years old. But I asked her, I said, do you have a contingency plan? And she said, no. I said to her, don't you think you should get one? I'm just going to wait and see. I said, oh, okay. Oh, okay. Now, I'm not hoping anything bad happens. I'm not hoping she gets laid off. But we gotta we have to not put all of our eggs in one basket. We never know what's gonna happen, and we don't want to get caught off guard of like, oh my God, now what? Now what? Like, I know a lot of women that may have a husband makes a lot of money, he's able to pay all the bills, pay the mortgage, what have you. And some women, they'll just be sitting uh and they're like, oh, my husband got it, he got it. But I'm like, okay, I'm gonna do something as well in case one day my husband don't have it. In case he don't have it, I gotta be able to, you know. And then even before economic downturn, I was like, okay, I can help build too. He could pay this, and then I can pay for vacation, kids' school, etc., what have you. Two is better than one, and I don't care how much money you make, and that's proven to be right. But I feel so bad for people. People are getting laid off in seems like in every agency of the federal government there are mass layoffs, and I'm just shocked by I see people who are um, Christians, and they talk about financial education, but I don't see anybody talking about what's going on and telling people, hey, you need to get your house in order. You need to have more than one stream of income. It's like they buried their head in the sand and they're just still talking about the same old stuff. But nobody is addressing or talking about, hey, this is going on. I mean, we can't ignore it. And I feel like we have to prepare people. Now everybody is not gonna listen. Everybody is not gonna listen, but we have to do our part to help people. I mean, I was in debt, I was broke, I was on food stamps. I was on food stamps before. I was just, and if I am doing better and I learned something to help me not be in that situation anymore, why would I not share what I learned with someone else? And even if I or you may have never been on government assistance, but you know how to make additional money in addition to your job, you know how to do side hustles. Why would you not share that with someone else so they'll know what that they can do something else in addition to their job? Because sometimes people don't do because they just don't know. They just don't know. They don't know. It's like when I started my non-medical in-home care agency. Once I turned a profit, I hired people, I mastered it, I started teaching other people. I felt like, hey, let me teach home care to other people. For one, it's a great opportunity for women, especially if you are a mother. Because once you get your business up and running, you can take time off to take your children wherever. And if you choose to quit your job once you get your business up and running, when you need to be home, you can be home. You don't have anyone to answer to. You don't have to put in for time off. You don't have to put in vacation time. You don't have to worry about taking a note to your job, them saying you don't have enough time, you're not gonna get paid. Like I have 4 children. All 4 of them have been sick, and then I was sick. This has been going on for like 3 weeks. 3 weeks. And I can't even imagine if I had a job, somebody to report to, like, I would have anxiety of, okay, what's going to happen? I don't have any money because, okay, if I was getting paid 3 weeks, my vacation time is used up because nowadays them jokers they don't give you sick time and vacation time. Normally, well, here in the state of North Dakota, most companies, not the company my husband works for, but a lot of companies, they do PTO, so it's all one lump sum. So whether it's sick time or vacation time, it's all coming out of the same pool. And I know yeah, anxiety on another level, like eggs, $8. I got all these bills to pay, and now I don't have any money coming in. And I know when I worked at the nursing home, them jokers were raggedy, raggedy, because you could have time to take off, but it was only for you. So if I had children, I if I had children when I was working at the nursing home, I didn't have any kids then. But if I had children and my kids became ill, I could take off. It would be excused, but it wouldn't be paid. Even though I had vacation PTO, even though I had PTO, I wouldn't get paid because it wasn't me that was personally sick. Isn't that some nonsense? Like, what kind of nonsense is that? Like, just pay the money. Yeah, so we have to have more than one source of income. Guys, we got to get out of that. You know, America, we are in love with that. We got our car notes, we got credit card bills up the wazoo, and we just figure It's just the American way. I read somewhere the other day that the average car note now is $780. A few months ago, I read that it was $700, but I saw somewhere the other day that the average car note is $780. And that on top of that, then you have insurance. And you know, when you buy a new car, insurance is expensive. And I was like, oh my God. I saw this lady. She got divorced or her husband died. I'm not sure. They said she became a single mother. And so she needed to buy a car for whatever reason to get her kids to and from whatever. And she went and bought a car and she bought it from a predatory lender. Interest rate was 25%. The interest rate was 25% on the car. She had made so many payments that she paid off the amount of the loan. What, how can I say this? So the car was $12,000, but she had made well over $12,000 in payments. I think they said she had made double that in payments, and the car still was not paid off. She still owed money. And then she got behind in the car note. Something happened. She got behind. They let her put the payment to the back of the loan. She did that like 3 times. And then she was still behind, and it got so bad that she let them do a voluntary repo. But then she turned them into the state of, I think it was Kansas or Arkansas, somewhere. She wrote a complaint or whatever. But no one should be taking advantage of the poor. But at the same token, I was thinking to myself, you didn't read the fine print. And if you did read the fine print, you knew when you signed on the line it said 25%. You knew it said 25%. We have to stop. And I've been there where I was desperate. Because let me tell you a story. Okay, I used to live in Georgia. I used to live in Conyers, Georgia, and I used to live in Covington. I ended up there by way of Florida because I lived in the Miami, Florida area, North Miami Beach to be exact. To be exact, I lived there. My parents moved to Georgia, and a hurricane was coming in Florida. And I don't ride out storms. I lived in Florida the majority of my adult life, and we don't ride out hurricanes. We leave. I'm not doing it. We leave. So hurricane was supposed to hit, and at the time my grandmother lived with me, which is the two of us. So we said, okay, we're gonna go to Georgia, come back after the storm. But I was broke, y'all. I didn't have no money. So I went to Georgia, and then I didn't have any money to get back to Florida. Now, mind you, I owned a home in Florida, but I didn't have any money to get back to that home. So I ended up in Georgia, and my parents didn't have any money to help me get back. See, this is why I say sometimes, we have to be willing to move when we're somewhere and people say, oh, well, my whole family is here, my friends are here. But those same people, they can't help you get ahead. They may love you. My parents love me. They let me move in with them. When I couldn't get back to Florida, they weren't going to pick me out on the street. But they could not help me get to where I needed and wanted to be financially. So when the opportunity came for me to move to North Dakota, and the company that I worked for, the nursing home, offered to relocate me here and pay for the relocation, I took the opportunity because what else was I gonna do? Live at home miserable with my parents for the next umpteen years, wondering how I'm gonna get ahead? Because at the time, I was applying for jobs for everywhere and I could not find a job for nothing. I could not find a job. I was applying everywhere. I mean, I had even applied to McDonald's, and that was my first job at like 17, 18, because my parents didn't let us work when we were in high school. My mom was like, you don't work, you don't have any bills to pay, your job is to go to school. Because she didn't want us to get caught up into making that little $300 every 2 weeks and thinking that's a lot of money, and then not doing right in school and thinking, oh, this is great, this is. But yeah, I had to move. And that's why I encourage people, okay, You may need to move to where there is other opportunity. You can always go back, you can always visit, but don't let people that cannot help you get ahead hold you hostage to the place that doesn't benefit you financially. So I had to leave. So I'm in Georgia. Hurricane, the hurricane never did come. Hurricane never did come. I was in Georgia for 3 years looking for a job. Could not find a job anywhere. I mean, I was getting desperate. And then I heard about North Dakota. I heard about North Dakota, and I took the opportunity, um, and I moved here. I moved here. And I think I was thinking about something else, but I started going on about in Georgia and move. I apologize, y'all. Forgive me. Forgive me. But don't be afraid to move. If a place where you're at does not serve you, you have to move. You have to be willing to try something new, make a bold move, make a bold move. Don't be afraid to move somewhere else. Um, but I was oh, so when I was in Georgia, that's where I was going with this story. When I was in Georgia, I lived in Conyers and I lived in Covington. But at the time that I lived there were no jobs in the area. The jobs were in actual Atlanta. So I was like, I need a car. I did not have a car. I did not have a car. And I was like, okay, I need a car. I need a car. And I was working for a company called Cloud 10. Cloud 10. It was work from home. This was before work from home was all the rage. And it was a regular paycheck or what have you. And then something happened. And then I was no longer working for them. And then I worked for a company called West at Home. Oh God, I promise you guys, that is the worst company I ever worked for in my life. Was West at Home. You had to fight for hours like a rabid dog, fighting to bite somebody. They wouldn't give you a set schedule. You had to go in and grab hours out of a pool. It was the worst, most depressing thing. And that went on for I don't know how long. And then sometimes I didn't even get paid $100 in a pay period. So I was like, you know what? I gotta go into Atlanta to work. I gotta work in Atlanta. So I was like, okay, I gotta get a job. I gotta get a car because the bus system, as far as I know of, didn't go from Conyers, Covington, all the way to Atlanta. Plus, that probably would have been a long bus ride or what have you, going into Atlanta or going into Alpharetta. So I went and got a car because I'm thinking, okay, I'll get a car. And once I get a car, I can start applying for jobs in the city and I'll get a job in no time. Okay, yes, this car note or what have you. And at the time, no one should have given me a car because, like I said, sometimes I wasn't even getting $100 a pay period. $100 a pay period. Can you guys hear me? Tell me if you can hear me. I don't know if my connection is still going. Type one in the box, please. Somebody type one in the box to let me know if you can hear me. Um, so I was like, let me buy a car. Let me get a car, and that way I can get in and out of the city. Oh, good. Thank you. I can get into the city. I'll have better luck with finding a job. But child, let me tell you, it didn't go that way. It didn't go that way at all. I went and got this car. It was a little hoopty. Uh, it was a hoopty, and not even a hoopty that, because sometimes a car can be old, but it still runs well. No, this was a piece of junk. This was a piece of junk, and the person who sold the car should have been arrested for the sold me the car should have been arrested for theft. That's how bad the car was. So I went and got this car thinking, oh, when I buy this car, I'll be able to find a job. And if I get a job in the city, everything will be okay, child. That didn't work at all. It didn't happen. I got that car, still couldn't find a job because the job market was tight. The job market was tight. It was the recession. So many people were laid off. The same thing that is happening now. And I have been saying this for months that a lot of people are going to be looking for jobs, and there's going to be a lot of competition, a lot of competition. And so competition was tight. And then our good old government had this program that if you got government assistance, you had to volunteer for a company. And if you volunteer for the company at the end, they would possibly hire you. None of them raggedy behind companies hired people. It was free slave labor. Really, it was. Because, oh, it was like, okay, you go there, you work, um, and you're learning from them. And then at the end, you've learned everything, and then they'll hire you. It made me want to cuss right now. Lord Jesus, help me. It made me want to cuss right now because they didn't hire people. They didn't hire people. And it wasn't just me. It was multiple people on the news saying, you know what, these companies, you got to go out here, you got to volunteer, uh, you got to work in order to get food stamps or what have you. And none of these companies at the end of, I think it was like a 3 month period, none of them jokers were hire people. Okay, you had all this work suddenly that you needed people to come in here and volunteer and do work, but now the 3 month period, probationary period is over, and God didn't hire anybody. Yeah, help me, Jesus, because I'm having flashbacks that make me want to cuss. Help me, Lord. Help me, Jesus. Let me calm down. Sorry, y'all. Let me calm down. That is not my story. Let me calm down. Let me calm down. But so I got the car, I did not get the job. I did not get a job. I still didn't get a job. The car was not running well. It had problems, and I still had to make payments. But I had no money to make the payments. I didn't have money to make the payments because that West at Home gig didn't pay anything. It didn't pay anything. Has anybody else heard of West at Home? West at Home, worst company ever. I pray they ain't even around no more. And I usually don't pray that, but I because they were they were a mess. I remember working for them and fulfilling HSN orders and taking HSN calls. And when I worked for Cloud 10, um, I handled Comcast calls. Now, Cloud 10, they did give you a set schedule and you had set hours or what have you, set break time, set hours, set schedule. But I had Comcast as one of the um, who I did call service for. Comcast, worst. Oh my God. Woo, Jesus, don't let me have flashbacks because I tell you, talk about traumatizing. Anyway, let me move on from that. But I did not get the job. I had this car. I could not pay for it. I couldn't pay for it. And then I found out in Georgia. So in Georgia, you cannot hide your car in the garage and all of that stuff. Oh, my lips are dry. You cannot hide your car in the garage from the repo man and all that stuff. They consider it theft in Georgia. Now, I don't know if they've changed that in most states now because I haven't had a car note in, I don't know when. I haven't had a car note in forever. And my husband had a note on his truck, but we didn't have the problem of hiding it from repo or none of that. Thank you, Jesus. Thank you, Jesus. But in Georgia, when I was hiding my car in the garage and what have you, I found out via the sheriff, you better turn that car in or they're going to charge you with grand theft auto. I said, oh, Jesus, come get this car because Shantae cannot go to jail. I cannot be Big Bertha's girlfriend. That come get this car. So the car was repoed, but I still owed money on the car. I still owed money. You know how they, I don't know, maybe you guys never had your car repoed, or maybe you know someone who has had a car repo, but okay, you can do a repo, even if it's a voluntary repo, you still owe the difference of the outstanding balance on the car unless they sell the vehicle, and whatever they get for the vehicle, then they deduct that from the outstanding balance. So you still owe it. So I still owe the balance. And I remember one time my mom's friend came to town to visit, and we were just, yeah, big birthday girlfriend. It wasn't going to be my portion. I remember once my mom's friend came to town and we were sitting around talking or what have you. And when, of course, she seen that I had moved with my parents or what have you. And I don't know what we were talking about. I don't know if the car had been repoed yet or not repoed. Um, and she was like, "What are you going to do about it?" I'm like, "What do you mean? What am I going to do about it?" It really ticks me off because she's like, "What are you going to do about it?" I'm like, "What can I do? I have no money. I can't pay them." And this is for whoever may be going through financial trouble right now. Your car may have gotten repoed, or maybe on the verge of getting repoed. Okay, it's gone. Let it go. Don't stress yourself about, oh, this on my credit. It's a bad look. You can fix your credit. It can fix your credit. Go to sleep at night. Don't worry yourself. Don't worry yourself staying up all night worried about it because it's gone, baby. It's gone. It is what it is. You can't do over. You can just learn from your mistake and do better and move on. But don't beat yourself up. But she was like, "Oh, what are you gonna do?" And I'm like, "There's nothing I can do. I don't have the money. I don't have a job to pay for it. I've been looking for a job and I just can't." And she was flabbergasted. I'm like, "You never had no money problems?" Oh,